This is Weird Corvid, and we're doing a reading today for the dark moon or the new moon in Capricorn. If you find that you resonate with anything I say, please leave a comment down below. If you see something or resonate with something completely different from the sun print and reading, then leave comments about that down below too. I would love to know what other people are seeing in this, not just my own opinions. With that said, first and foremost, the first thing I see in the print is the wishbone in near the west side of the blob of dye. So I would think we're dealing with some sort of wishes. It seems open towards the west, so is this wish open towards your feelings? Is it feeling based? Is it I don't know. I am getting a strong feeling, and I don't normally get a strong feeling, even when cards that come up are about the lovers or something. I don't normally feel it like that, but I do feel it is towards a wish towards some other person, not purpose. Well, maybe it's towards some other purpose, but I'm really feeling like it's some sort of relationship. Maybe not a love relationship, but maybe some sort of wishful thinking, strong feelings towards some sort of a relationship is what I'm getting. And I don't normally like going down that route of making it about a relationship. So maybe that is what we're sort of dealing with here. Also, there's a bone line that goes right underneath that, and it just feels very defined, very structured, very, this is it. It's like it's underlining that wishbone. The other thing I'm seeing is just a little bit lower to the south, a little bit to more the east side of the page. There is this shape, and it's hard to describe. I don't know if I can point it out to you with words, but what I'm seeing is sort of like when somebody does the hand motion for keeping your mouth shut or to be more quiet, or like the claw sort of shape of a hand with the thumb underneath and the fingers all together at the top, making sort of a claw shape, but in a closed shape, like somebody's trying to tell you to be shh, or like that's enough. And I don't know what it's from TV, some sort of sitcom. I'm thinking maybe Friends, maybe not Friends, but somebody's saying shutty, like shutty your mouth while they're making that hand motion to shut your mouth and be quiet. That is pointing up towards the north, with the wrist sort of towards the south, and I'm not really sure what that's about. It's not pointed towards the wish. It's not pointed towards emotions. It's pointed towards the mouth, or it's towards the mouth. It's pointed towards the north. So is it pointed towards outside chatter, outside influence, but it's coming from a place of the southeast? So is it coming from a place, I usually associate the south with like motivation and like passions of the heart, vitality, that type of stuff, and east with the psyche and mental stuff and that kind of stuff. This is definitely more towards the south than the east, but maybe there's a little bit of like the mind saying, shut down. I want to think my own thought. But it's more the south, so maybe the south just needs some quiet to identify its own vitality, its own motivation, maybe its own motivation. So outside influences maybe are telling you what your motivations should be, and your inner self is saying, no, I know what my motivations are. Like sometimes I find when I'm listening to self-help stuff or whatever, and people are suggesting, oh, you should be motivated this way, or you should be motivated that way, or let me get you amped up this way, or let me get you amped up that way, and all it does is it goes against my own natural flow of things, and it actually demotivates me. And they had all the good intentions in the world to be a motivating talker, speaker, whatever, but it's not working for me in that moment. And maybe that's what's going on here. Somebody is trying to be motivating to you, or you're trying to find motivation outside of yourself, and ultimately it's almost having the opposite effect. So maybe you need to shut that down, quiet the outside sources, and listen to what your own person, your own soul needs to be motivated. It could be something completely different than what other people needs, or maybe something from your past will give a clue as to what you need to be motivated, if that's what it is. Maybe, well, motivation can be for multiple things. So if it's like for a passion, it's still, you got to get that passion off the ground, so that you need the motivation to do that. And then if that's tying into the whole wishbone thing with possibly a person, although I kind of associate like the south passions, like passions of the heart, passions that are yours, not necessarily passion for another person, but maybe they're somehow combined. Maybe you share similar passion. Maybe that's what draws you to them. I'm not sure. And I don't think you're quite sure either, because that's why you have the shouty hand going on there, and you need to think your own thoughts for a little while. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but my cats are snoring next to me, so if you can hear the little snores in the background, that's what it is. Also, if we're talking about relationships and emotions and stuff, the little shutty hand motion also I refer to as like a claw motion, like a crab claw. And crabs are Cancer. Cancers are totally about emotions or water. Are you interested in a Cancer? Are you a Cancer? Are you a little bit defensive around protecting your heart? And that's what the claw thing is for. That's a possibility or extra add-on to this as well. I still think it's the shed emotion. That's the primary thing I'm getting from it. But it could also be the whole crab claw thing. And maybe somebody's a Cancer, or acts like a Cancer, really protects their heart with their hard outer shell and a softer inner emotional world. Another thing I'm noticing is I'm pretty sure it's a vertebrae bone, but in the way it landed, it looks like a little bat up in the northeast corner, which is kind of cute. And bats, interestingly, like they use sonar to find, so they're putting out their own sound, their own frequencies, and waiting for it to bounce back, reflect back to them, to figure out, to orientate themselves and figure out where things are. So maybe that is another reason why you're kind of wanting things to be quiet, so you can hear your own frequency and how it responds in the world, instead of being bombarded by social media and every type of media talking at you about everything. Quieten that down and listen to your own voice, your own ideas, and how those play out in the real world. Not just in your head, but play that, like, see how things react in the real world with them, and use that reaction to sort of suss out where you go next, how well something is doing, if you need to pivot and change a little bit in this direction or that direction to get to where you want to be. Or even maybe you don't know where you want to be, but you can still use this as a way to sort of find your way, whatever aligns with your own frequency, with your own ideas best, or whatever reflects back something interesting to you, something that you want to explore more. And it's really about using your own guidance, your own thoughts, your own ideas and frequency to sort of figure out where to go, instead of listening to what others have to say about, oh, try this or try that. You can take in their advice if you want to, but it seems like right now maybe it's just a little too much. So really focus in on what you want and use that to allow you to guide yourself through whatever it is you're going to guide yourself through. And maybe you don't know where you're going, and in that case, still use your own guidance to just sort of follow, like chuck it out there and see what sticks. See what reflects back something that you want to see, and then follow that direction. And as far as people go, talk about the things that you like, hobbies you have, the interests you have, and the people that return that interest and that enthusiasm. They might be the people that you want to explore and get to know better. Consequently, if you're getting to know someone and they have no interest in what you're interested in, and they have no interest in getting to know what you have to say about it, or have no enthusiasm to know anything more about it, then maybe they're not the person for you, or at least not in the way you thought they were. Maybe you'll have something else in common with them, but they're not that exact match you were looking for whatever, like if it is a partner, or maybe it's like you were looking for a specific hobby partner and this person doesn't like that hobby, then maybe find a different hobby to go do with them, or let them find somebody else to do that hobby with. I do see up in the northwest corner a very faint image that almost looks like eyes in the bridge of a nose, but the eyes are very prominent, and it's almost like, I was going to say, it's like somebody's watching you but doesn't really want to be seen. They're not like stalking watching you, they're just sort of keeping an eye on you, but they're very clearly keeping an eye on you. The more I look at it, the more it sort of looks like there's a raptor nose, like a bird of prey nose coming out, like with the wide face, maybe an owl. I think there are some hawks or eagles that have very wide feathered faces around the eyes. Their feathers make like a wide face. First thought was an owl. So the whole thing with owls is that they are wise. If we're talking about most raptors, they have very good vision. They're very observant. And going along with me originally seeing the eyes there, I would say this is somebody that is being very observant of you. So as I'm telling you to be very observant of how people react to the things that you're interested in, the things that are your thoughts and feelings, how people respond to that, use that as guidance to figure out what direction you should be going with them, what direction you should be going in life. There's also somebody being very observant of you. And I don't feel like it is in a negative way. And I'm not necessarily sure that is like, I'm not saying it's like your soulmate either or anything like that. It's very sort of neutral at this point. They're waiting to sort of make their mind up about you and leaning more towards that you're a pleasant person, but they're still trying to figure you out. They're still trying to suss you out and figure out what's going on there. So this is sort of interesting. It's kind of going both ways. Also, owls use that kind of sonar a little bit as well to find prey and whatnot. Not to the same degree that bats do, but also interestingly enough, owls are one of the few birds that are very silent when they fly. There's pretty much no sound. I'm sure a bat though would be able to sonar, like echolocate them because of their body mass. That would bounce off. But if you're not looking for that, an owl could very easily sneak up on someone or go unnoticed. But bats are pretty good with their sonar. So maybe you're just sort of picking up on them when they're not wanting to be noticed. And it might surprise them a little, but I don't think it's going to spook them off. Like I said, this is pretty neutral. I don't think they're necessarily a negative energy or a super obsessive energy or anything like that either. I think they're just trying to figure you out the same way you're trying to figure them out. That said, if you are dealing with somebody and they are acting a little too interested, go with your gut. Don't ever go against your gut. Especially when it comes to other people, no matter how much you might want to believe some readers telling you that they might be your soulmates, go with your gut. If it's feeling off about it, then either move away or really take your time in figuring them out. Down by that little shutty hand thing that I was looking at before, more towards the east at this point, I'm seeing the letter K, but the K is lying on its back or on the flat part. So is your name start with a K, or does the name of somebody else you know start with a K? I'm not sure if this K is related to whoever is observing you as well. It's so close to that little shutty hand. Is there someone with the name K, starts with a K name, that is just talking your ear off and just won't shut up and giving you all this unsolicited advice? I'm not sure. Possibility. K for Karen, as in like the stereotypical Karen. I think I'm going to go to the cards next. And we have past influences on the west side of the paper and current influences for this time period on the east side of the paper. We're using the Halloween Oracle deck and the Messenger Oracle deck. For past influences, we have Winter, which underneath it says the sacredness of pausing. And under that, we have card number 4, Be Without Malice. The Winter card definitely could be a time to really just stop and like observe and witness and pause and pay attention. It's also the time of year we're into, very wintry. If we're ever going to have snow, it's around this time of year. Let's see what the book has to say. Should the Winter card appear to you, it's time to let what no longer serves you die away. Where it seems natural and right to let things that have been bothering you for some time die back, take real action to change those things. Anything that is extra and burdensome, release it. So these are past influences, things that you've been releasing. What are the things that you've been releasing lately that no longer serve you, that are just too extra and too much? I guess that kind of does go along with the whole shutty hand about like just being overwhelmed and too much of outside influence and talking at you and all the rest of it. Maybe it's a time to like put that aside and just listen to yourself for a while, and anything that is no longer serving you, all that, maybe it is time to go through your social media and start like cleaning it out. Any accounts that you don't follow anymore, any accounts that are putting out commentary or creating things that are just not really aligning with you. Maybe they did at one point, but they no longer fit your needs. Get rid of those. You don't have to follow all that. You don't have to have them in your feed. Like really curate and narrow down your feed to things that are only important to you or that you agree with, nothing that is going against your own viewpoints. I mean, it's always good to expand your viewpoint, but sometimes you need to also curate it down. You don't need all that talk all the time. And there might be things that you do agree with, but it's just all frivolous. Like maybe you don't need all the fashion stuff. Maybe you don't need the top skin care stuff if that's not really what you're into in this moment in time. At one point, that's fine. Like it's not bad to be into that stuff. Whatever things are just not what you're into right now, you can always go back and look for it later. But maybe curate your social media feeds to be a lot more about what you're into in this moment and not stuff you're into 5 years ago. Or anyone that is trying to tell you that you need to change who you are. You really need to zone into who you are in the moment now and take your cues from that, not other people. So if other people are not aligning with those cues, especially on social media, maybe just block them for a little while or stop following them for a little while. You can always go back to them. Or maybe it's actually people in your life, possibly. So for the other card, Be Without Malice, let's see what the book has to say about that. Maybe it's just saying to be without malice while you're curating your feeds and your life. You don't have to let go of things in a mean way. You can be very nice about it. You can always leave that door open to come back to it if you want to. It's more about boundaries than it is about getting rid of, possibly. So what the book has to say is, you have been hurt, disrespected, or disappointed by others. Another has let you down or betrayed you. It is normal and natural to experience feelings of anger, hurt, and disappointment. To feel any and all emotions is natural, but you have a choice always in how you respond. Do not allow your hurt to become a source of infection. Acknowledge it, learn from it and your experiences, and then let the anger, hurt, and disappointment go. Do not allow them to inspire retaliation, acts born of malice or spite. Well, that definitely goes along with the Winter card of letting things go. So yeah, unfortunately, no one gets through life without being hurt by other people, or even sometimes you hurt yourself. And it is good to always always acknowledge that hurt instead of pushing it aside. The more you push it aside, the more you try to ignore it, the more it twists and becomes something more than it should be. It's better to acknowledge it as soon as in the moment as you can and then let it go. And we are not trained to do that in this society. We are trained to push it down and ignore it. Children, like I grew up with being told children are supposed to be seen and not heard, don't cause a scene, and so you stuff all your emotions down, and then you have to work through it later when you're older. And that's not fun. It dictates responses from you that you weren't really aware it was dictating responses. It shapes your experience of the world, and not always in the best way. Sometimes it's there to protect you, but sometimes when you no longer need it to protect you in that way, it's just not a positive influence. So it's best to let it go when you can, and it seems like you have been going through a winter time of letting things go. So those two cards work well together, and this is past influences, so it's either what you have recently gone through or have gone through in the past, or it's what you're going through possibly right now and are about to switch over. Hopefully letting go is something that you have been working on, because it's always healthy to do that. It's not always fun, but it's usually pretty healthy. Can be bumpy though, that's for sure. And again, that lend itself to not listening to other people's opinions on them, because hurt can be a very personal thing, and everybody's experienced it. Everybody has opinions on it. Everybody has had their own ways of getting through it, but nobody has experienced it exactly the way you have. So getting over it or forcing forgiveness. Sometimes forgiveness can be amazing in helping you get through something, and other times forgiveness is not the right, appropriate answer to the problem in that moment. It's all very personal how you handle it. So you need to really follow your own guidance on it and what is going to help you get over things. Really ask yourself, or ask your higher self, if that's an easier way of looking at it, what you need to heal and move past things. So future influences, we have Ghost, which is regret. And this one always sort of, what was that series of TV shows, all like sort of spooky ghost type stuff, and there's one, like every new season they would do a different the same actors but a different scenario, different storyline. The first one was with a family that grew up in this house that was supposedly haunted and all the rest of it. One of the youngest daughters kept seeing this I think she called it a hanged woman that just kept showing up randomly in different times in her life of this hanged woman that was trying to talk to her, but she couldn't talk, she didn't hear anything, and it was scared the crap out of this little girl. In the end, it turned out that this woman was actually the little girl in her last moments. She was hung. I forget how, if she did it on purpose or it was an accident or something. And she was like, her life was flashing before her eyes, which was this little girl experiencing this hung woman. That's what this image sort of reminds me of. That also just sort of like a hologram of a specific regretful moment. Like that regret lives as a hologram, almost as a stagnant, transparent hologram that just sort of stays there. Let's see what the book has to say. Should the ghost come gliding into your life during divination, it may indicate that you have some regrets to let go. Holding grudges or regrets is burdensome work, and it weighs us down eventually. By taking action to free ourselves of these old burdens, we clear the way for more rightful and wise actions for the future. We can begin to live again fully if we let go of what was and step into the new possibilities. So that's definitely seeming to go along with the past cards. Is maybe we are currently working through, like we have been working through in the past, and we are still sort of working through those regrets or those hurts. If we're going to relate this back to the page here, yes, we were talking about like shutting out the outside influences, but there's also that wish. And if we're talking about relationships, if we've been hurt in the past, we're going to build up some resentments and whatnot, coping mechanisms to protect ourselves from other people, and we might not be quite as open to starting new relationships as we once were. We might be kind of scared of that. We might, because that's normal, that's natural, and we should have some boundaries and some standards when we go to open our hearts to other people. But at the same time, we need to be able to let our hearts open to other people. So we really need to calibrate those boundaries. And sometimes the opening your heart to someone, even if it ends up being something that does not work out for you in the end, can still be a good thing. It can still be a learning lesson. And that totally sounds like a bumper sticker there. Don't get me wrong. Some of those people are souls and you wish you never crossed paths with them. You can still sort of maybe pick out some lessons to try and salvage that whole time that you wasted on them. Sure, that's good. Constructive way to try to get through it. But sometimes it can be a pivotal moment that you can part ways with somebody in a generally happy way, or at least in a non-hurtful way. It's a mutual parting. You learn from each other and you move on. I don't know if that's what's going to happen here, but what I'm saying is it's a good thing to have your heart open, even if there's a possibility of it being hurt. I'm not saying to just go and open your heart up to every butthead out there, but some people it's worth taking a chance on. At the end of the day, what really helps is if you trust yourself. That it doesn't matter what scenario you go through, you know you got your own back. It doesn't matter what the world throws at you, you know you'll get through it. It might not be fun, it might be a totally bumpy road, but you know that you'll come out the other end eventually. The same thing can be applied to relationships. You don't necessarily want to go into a relationship where you know you're going to be treated badly. If you know you're going to be treated badly, leave. That's easier said than done sometimes, but ultimately that's what you gotta do. But you know you need to have your own back, that even if the relationship kind of sucks, you got your own back. You don't have your worth based off of those people. That you're always going to get so much more hurt if you're finding your worth from that relationship. The relationship is meant to complement you as a human being, as a person. It's there for you to share yourself with them, not to gain your worth from it. You are the one that adds the worth to that relationship by sharing yourself with it. They also add value to the relationship by sharing themselves. And it's hard not to like cling on to someone or latch onto somebody and go, oh, they like me. That makes everything so much better. And that's totally normal to gain a little bit of purity and be a little bit flattered by that. That's perfectly normal. But you really need to be careful about not basing your worth on that. And I know all of us have done it at some point in time, especially when we were younger, where so-and-so liked us, so that made our whole world better and it made us like more important to ourselves. And we need to know at the end of the day, even if we really trust someone and love someone and they're the best person in the world for us, they're just the right match, that we are the ones that have to have our own back. If we have our own back, then everything else is just extra. And if things go wrong, well, we have our own back. In some ways that might feel a little bit lonely, but once you really sort of restructure your brain around it, and I'm still working on it, then everything good is just added good. It's just extra on top of that. And having your own back allows you to have your boundaries without blocking off your heart. And again, I'm still working on that, but I can see it as something reasonable to work towards. But it's a lifetime of conditioning you have to get through to get to that point. Let's see what the last card is. The last card is a card that has been popping up in a lot of different readings here, and it is the Be Patient Dragon. I believe this one talks about like waiting for the right timing and not acting too quickly and spoiling whatever you're gonna. So we'll read it. Different words pop out for different readings. I haven't memorized it 100%, but I'm getting to the point where I've read it enough where I might be getting to memorize it. Now is not the time to act. Now is the time to show self-restraint, to be patient and wait. Do not let your desires for an outcome or resolution result in one that is not to your liking, because you forced it to manifest before it was time. Trust that all will be as it is meant to be, when it is meant to be. Be still, let go of all frustration and impatience, and remember that good things come to those who wait. So yeah, it sounds like we're still going through a period of working through our regrets, our protective mechanisms, and letting all the hurt go so that we can move forward stronger and more resilient and more open to the right type of love. So you have your boundaries, you have your standards, and if somebody meets those without having a red flag, then maybe it's the opportunity to open up. But right now it's time to shutty out the world and listen to yourself, figure it out, use your own guidance to what you need to heal, what you need to let go of, listen to your own thoughts, to your own way of interpreting the world, asking yourself what you need in order to let go of the things that are no longer serving you, and really be patient with yourself. This is a process that takes a while. Usually it's a process of unlearning a lot of cultural things that were drilled into you when you're a kid, and they form the structure of how you think of the world. And now it's time to deconstruct that so that you can view the world from your own point of view instead of constantly consuming other people's points of view. And by doing so, you might be able to find your own way of letting go of the things that are no longer serving, the things that have been sort of trapping you in this mindset that you need someone else to validate you, or you need to protect yourself from everything and everyone all the time, and there's no one that could ever understand you. Maybe there are, but you need to understand yourself first, or at the very least understand what boundaries that you need, and to let go of any of the other stuff that is no longer serving you. To let go of all those ghosts that are like clogging up your mind, and tell them to shut up until you sort your out, and then you can tell them to go off, and they serve their purpose. It's time to go. So if you're waiting for that relationship to come in, still, like, the wish is still there, the wishbone's still there, the wishbone's still open, the wishbone wants to be open to all those emotions, but there still is a little bit more work you need to do on yourself. Maybe the other person needs to work on themselves too. Maybe they got all this stuff to work through as well. It'll come together when it's the right time to come together. If you're impatient about it, you could end up ruining a good thing. So take the time, push all that out of your mind, and just work on yourself for the sake of working on yourself. And when the right time and opportunity comes up, then you'll hopefully be in the right headspace to take advantage of that. I'm guessing that that's possibly what this owl figure that is observing you is doing. They're not quite in the right headspace either. That's why they're kind of neutral, but they're definitely curious and interested in you, but not in like a creepy sort of way. They're observing. They're seeing what happens. They're seeing how things play out. They're probably sitting back like that for a reason, because they're working through their own crap too. So many tarot readers, what do they say? They say, if it's meant for you, it'll come to you. I guess we're waiting to see if that, what each other are, if the owl and you are that thing that is meant for each other, but you're not quite who you're supposed to be yet. Probably both of you are not who you're quite supposed to be yet, because you're both in transition time. So you're still working on that. You don't want to drive them off with some of your insecurities and regrets, and vice versa. You need to recalibrate your boundaries towards what you need, not what other people tell you should, so that you can let the right people in and you can connect with the right people, so you can vet the right people and eventually allow your heart to open up to them in whatever capacity that is. Might be friendship, be more than friendship. I don't know. So yeah, I think that is it for this reading. Anyways, if you resonated with any of this, please leave a comment. If you didn't resonate with any of this and you've something else you saw on this altogether, different storyline altogether, leave a comment and let me know. I'd love to know other people's points of views on what they see. Also, I guess if I'm doing the whole YouTube thing, I gotta say, what is it? Like, follow, and subscribe, please. That would help. Anyways, have a good dark moon. And dark moon is a perfect time to let go of stuff and reflect in that way. Drop things that no longer serve you. Hopefully it is not too painful and it is constructive. Anyways, bye.